Hi, I'm here with Sofia Dumitru, and she plays a scammer. I think silly scammer to if we're going for the or it's clumsy scammer. If we're going by the
Oh,
script,
okay.
a scammer in the scam set portion of our movie, and
Yeah,
she's also a collaborator with many filmmakers and artists in the Eugene area.
that's true.
How are you doing?
Good. Yeah, there's a lot. COVID slowed things down a bit for, I'd say, March, 2 months. And then I think May 15th, I was back on set. And,
Nice.
with masks, of course. That was with doing Maxie, the feature film that Jarrett was putting together. Yeah.
I had heard about it, and I also saw what do you call screenshots.
Oh, okay.
Wow, this looks rough.
Yeah.
I guess it's a drama. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I played a social worker, which was perfect because that's I wasn't a social worker per se, but I've done a lot of work with homeless teens in California before I came here, and really kind of dialed into that whole world. So I walked into a bar. And
It's the beginning of a joke.
literally, yeah. Jarrett was sitting next to Rex Moody, and I saw him go like, and he was like, "That's my social worker." It was that fast.
Wow.
So I
Casting
had,
has never been so easy.
yeah, I had the look. I said, "You have no idea how right you are." So I say that only because I was really relieved that I did not have to be on set for some of the really nasty, ugly, sad stuff in that movie. I just had my 2 or 3 little scenes
Yeah.
bringing hope and light.
Hey, that's always the best. I like the grimy stuff, but I like it like with a funnier side on it. I mean, it can really
Yes,
get it can really put wear and tear on your psyche, even just going through
it's so
the
true.
rougher stuff. Yeah, even if it's just on screen. But I would assume that was a fun experience, even though it was with the masks and all that.
Totally positive. Loved working with
Yeah.
Miles Dixon.
Oh yeah.
That was a great experience. And then, did you want to know what else I'm doing?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
know I saw you with Rob. And I saw you were doing something with Rob. There was a clip you guys had on Instagram, and I wasn't.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, they used my car in the Matthews um, little kind of horror film that he busted it out in an evening. He had to scratch an itch about just making a movie. And we were working so hard on the script for his next big sci-fi, which I wrote for him. He gave me the storyline for a movie called After Timber, and gave me the outline of what he wants to have happen, and then he let me just run with it and write it, and I would send him back a draft, and he would either love it or give me suggestions on something else he wanted different, and I would go with it. It was one of the best collaborations. So we worked on, I wrote the After Timber script, and we had a lot of kind of elders looking over our shoulder and helping massage things a bit. So
Yeah,
um,
smoothing it out.
yeah, so we were smoothing it out. We were in the middle of that, and he's just like, "I gotta film something, so come on down to Cottage Grove." And so I drove down there just to see how he works. And so Rob and I carpooled because Rob was the star, and I was usually just kind of sitting in the car watching them, so I wasn't out in the cold at midnight. I think we filmed
Mhm.
till like 2 a.m, as one does.
Yeah, as
So
one
yeah, it
does.
was
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
that, and then on August 8th, I need to show up on set, hopefully 10 pounds lighter, to Megan John's fantasy movie Feathers.
Oh, yeah. She told me about that.
Yeah, so I
I
play
don't know how much I
lesbian
can
mom
say. I
number
don't want
one.
to. I don't want to say too much because I don't know how much she wants to put out there. But
Oh,
sounds
yeah.
really interesting. Sounds interesting. Definitely fantasy. I definitely could say that. and I've never
Yes.
seen anything like it. And she got some really cool sets, some
Yeah.
set design going on. So I'm really excited to see what that looks like.
And I think
Um,
costumes.
are you? Did you see any of the costumes yet?
Just the sketches. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. I'm trying not to say too much. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying
Yeah.
not to sabotage somebody else's picture here or whatever. But
Well,
um,
luckily, no one has to see me in a fairy costume because, like I say, I'm playing one of the moms.
okay,
So, yeah,
that's what's up. Cool, cool. So
yeah.
yeah, I didn't know you were a writer. I didn't know you were a script writer.
You
Did you
know,
also?
I've written, I guess, about 4 pieces, short plays. I was in Mike Schwartz's, Schwab's. Um, Sometimes I mix up names, and it has nothing to do with how much I love the person.
Yeah,
And
Schwab's awesome.
Mike Schwab's the greatest. Yeah.
I
I was in.
I get Schwab and Rob
Oh,
mixed up sometimes because it rhymes. And
yeah,
I'm like,
sure.
you mean Schwab? You mean no, Rob? Schwab and Rob connection, and I just get it all. Oh no, I got to cross the streams. You
Yeah,
know.
well, I was in his playwright group for about a year, and he just encouraged me to just keep writing. I was doing memoir stuff, it didn't really belong, and he's like, do some plays, and I'm like, okay. So I have writing in my background. I did. Years of I've always been in the entertainment industry of one sort or another. um, some of it was in the marketing and branding. One of my first marketing jobs was actually at Lucasfilm in their software
It was
games
what
division.
now? Oh,
Lucas
Lucasfilm Games.
Arts.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. So
Right on.
um,
Wow.
I know it was great training. They were the best. So anyway, I've known, I've crafted my writing as a commercial writer, also for radio. I mean, literally, I wrote commercials for 5 years and did voiceover for radio for about 10 years. And this whole new
And you were
foray in Eugene about coming up with stories and creative writing, that part of it is new. But taking to it like how do you say, a duck to water, a
mm-hmm.
dog to water.
Yeah. It's easy. It's easier once you. I think it's a duck to water. I don't know. Let's just say ducks. Go ducks. But
Duck.
yeah, I think it's like easier to move into something that's like a bilateral thing, because
Yes.
art, like writing is writing, right? If you don't necessarily know the particular form, it's like theater writing is different, like playwriting is different than like screenwriting, because screenwriting is so like specific. But
Yeah.
you change the format or whatever, at least you already have the work ethic down from, even if you're writing commercials or whatever, at least
I'll
like,
tell you what,
okay, I got
that's
to get
really
cranked
true.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently I wrote it quickly. I guess it took about 2 months, but for me, for 40 pages.
That's quick for
That
me.
for me.
That's
Is it?
quick for
Okay,
me.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I take my sweet time with stuff. I mean, my writing partner Blake Leitner, the director and producer of the film, he likes to
Yeah.
just like, let's go, and I'm like, I gotta outline to the point of where like I'm this crazy guy with all this stuff on the wall, these connectors, and like, he's like, I got the
The red
cigarette, but
yarn and the
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
and it's like, all right, we need to at some point get
Yeah.
out of the outlining phase and get into the actual writing phase.
I
But
actually bought like 2 or 3 of those massive cork boards, imagining that I would be storyboarding, and I never did. It
you skipped
all
over it altogether.
just the flow, man. Yeah, I never did one
Sometimes
lick of storyboarding.
sometimes it doesn't call for it. Some
Yeah.
stories I've never written a story and outlined it the same way as the last. Like every time, and it's almost frustrating because it's like you're like, okay, I'll just do the same thing, and you think it's just gonna get easier. And that part of it, like putting
Yeah.
the story together structure wise, unless you want to
Yeah.
do the same thing over and over again, you can't like just outline it the same. You know, because otherwise
So
people will go, oh, he's just doing the same thing he did last time. Oh, I know what's gonna happen. You know, so
for I Need Rent Money, are
we
there
need rent money. Yeah,
characters that you had to leave on the editing floor that you loved, but they didn't make it into the movie when you wrote it?
there was a lot. Yeah, there was
Oh, really?
characters. There were honestly, there was characters that maybe should have. What we decided was, for one thing that we wanted to do, I mean, there was minor characters that I thought were funny that we cut out here and there, but the major characters, there's like six factions or whatever. There's six factions of three people, and it's like a game of Chinese checkers, you know. And that was kind of how
Yeah.
we wanted to organize it. And so me trying to structure it like I did, I literally put together like a Star of David like Chinese checkers board and was like, okay, then this guy goes over here, and then she's in here, and then they're going like that, you know. And Blake's just like, write the thing, man, you know, just write it. And we're like, okay, and we did. We ended up writing it, but yeah, no.
Well, I'll tell you,
Was...
I tried to stay out of your movie because it, it had such a crazy reputation. And every time somebody would come up your set, I'm like, I am so not touching that with a 10-foot pole. And then I swear to God,
you got.
And then you put an ad out, and I don't think you put the title of the movie, but you're like, you know, we'll pay for your time or whatever. And I'm like, that's always fun. So I applied to it, and then I found out, holy shit, I'm in the movie. But
you got suckered into it or something. Yeah.
I had a blast doing it. I know.
I'm glad.
Pretty funny, but I had a blast doing it. I really did.
You saved the movie, you know, like at the last second, a lot of people dropped out. No, I'm serious. A lot of people dropped out, and like we couldn't find people to replace those scam characters, and that was such an essential scene. And we had just had to rewrite it because, I mean, a lot of things happened where we were not able to get certain locations, and so we had to like rewrite it to where we could. And then we were like trying to do test shooting like the day of, and it was stressful. Let's say that. But
you had us in
like
you had us in a tool shed, man.
It was like a tiny home. It was like a little barn shed thing.
Crazy,
yeah.
Did you end up turning? I shouldn't ask, but there was a section that we did that it sounded like it was going to be a music montage, like an old Van Halen video or something. Did you end up doing that?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah. There's a montage called Scam Extreme, you know, and it's like you got to scam extreme. And it's like 80s style. You know what I'm talking about. You know, those old school like Eye of the Tiger, you know, push it to the limit, Scarface type bullshit, you know.
Awesome.
Very tongue in cheek, very silly. But we had you, Samuel Wagner, Sparky, and Blake was the other scammer because we couldn't find another scammer. So Blake is in like 4 or 5 parts in the movie, you know. And you're like, how many times is he going to be in his own movie, you know? But hey, you got to do what you got to do to finish the picture.
Absolutely. Well, I think everybody in the Valley ended up being in your film, so
pretty much, yeah. We had to pull a lot of favors, and you know, we got Schwab in it. We got Rob and Schwab connection. I don't know a lot of people that were not in it in the area. Some people couldn't make it because of scheduling. Unfortunately, we had Wyatt Schroeder as like one of the main parts, and I very much regret that we couldn't get him in the film, but he had to get married. And we're like, why you gotta get married?
What?
Come on. No, congratulations to him, honestly.
Where's the priorities?
Next time we'll I know, right? Put it off. Like, tell everybody to get over it. No, don't do that. Don't do that. That relationship would not work out.
That's right.
Schroeder's great though. But yeah, I had fun with just about everybody that I worked with. You know, except for Schwab. I'm just joking. I'm just playing. I'm just joking. I love Schwab. I had a lot of fun filming it. There was a lot of parts where 18-hour shoots, stuff like that. What was the most stressful
Yeah.
thing that you've worked on? Like as far as acting, theater, film?
Hmm. Well, when I moved here, it had been 29 years since I had been on stage, and that's what I was used to, was stage work. And so I got into a musical at VLT, Very Little
Oh
Theater,
boy.
and
Yeah, I know
I'd say
VLT.
that, yeah, that was pretty stressful. It was the musical with the talking plant. Dave Mort
Oh
actually
yeah,
did the
yeah,
puppet.
yeah. Little Shop of
Yeah,
Horrors.
Little Shop of Horrors. That's right. I
You
was in that.
jumped right out of 20 something years without doing any theater whatsoever. And then you jumped into Little Shop of Horrors.
Pretty
Is that
much,
what you're
yeah.
saying?
And yeah, pretty much, yeah. And then next, after that, I was music director for a Christmas play there, and
Okay.
then I found the film group, and it was like a perfect fit. I've always thought that I would end up doing film. I didn't know how, but it's totally come to fruition. So, and those other shorts that I wrote, two of them were workshopped, actually more than workshopped. They were in a showcase, for the writers group, and performed, and they did really well. And right now I'm looking to see how can I adapt them for Zoom.
That would be cool.
One of them I think would work really well. I did a game show script. It's called Game Show Eugene. And it's 3 different characters. One actually is classic kind of Springfield blue collar. The other is classic kind of hippie Eugene. And the third one is a California transplant. So
nice. Great.
they each have to answer simple questions about everyday life, and of course they all get shit wrong, and but I think that would probably work well on Zoom. So I'm trying to adapt my stuff.
Yeah.
And
there's a host, I would assume, too, right? So there's like the 3 contestants and the host. Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that one would work for sure. I think that would work. I haven't even thought about doing stuff on Zoom, but it's kind of like our world right now. It's kind of like our reality right now.
Yeah.
And so if we can utilize it, hey, it's a new entertainment medium. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what stage is doing. The theaters around here are putting stuff on Zoom. So
because you can't do theater right now. I hope that those places can like stay open through this.
Oh,
because
I know.
I don't know how they're gonna pay mortgage and you know what I mean?
I think it all really depends on the patronage. The patronage is gonna have to just, be there
Donations.
for them. But so now with Walter King putting together the Lane County Filmmakers website on YouTube, that's where we can put our films. So that's exciting. Yeah.
I'm glad it exists. I mean, that's a really cool connection. Because whenever I was in Eugene before, because I came back for this, but I lived in Eugene before, and I was in No Shame theater group and stuff. As was Mike, we were just in at different times, but a lot of people were, I guess, and like we kind of like shifted in and out at different times or whatever. But and I've done plays and stuff like that, but like that was the main stuff. We were trying to break out and do our own stuff on film. We were really amateur or whatever. We were doing sketch comedy and stuff like that, but I couldn't find much of a film community to get people to act in my stuff. I was just trying to pull in theater actors that.
And this was how many years ago?
Over 10.
Oh, yeah.
It was like 14 years ago. Something like that.
Wow.
14,
it's
15
really
years
changed,
ago.
huh?
It has. I love it. Well, you got to realize. I mean, the thing is, I don't know if there was, and I didn't know it. I guess Jeff Johnston had something up before on some page he was saying, but we weren't as connected back then as we are now with like Facebook and different social media platforms. I think we were on like MSN Messenger and like, or whatever. I think it might have been at the beginning of MySpace, but there was not like groups for different interests and stuff like that you could just type in keywords and hashtag whatever and it would pop up and in your area, or search engines just weren't what they were.
Yeah.
They weren't what they are now. Yeah.
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 I should also say that I was able to try my hand at directing and editing. Um, Andre Royal he had his cooking with narcolepsy
Yeah, the Sleepy
cooking
Cook.
segment.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I directed that. It was the first film thing that I directed. And then Rick worked with me where I was able to do what I call paper editing, where watching the time code, I scribble out the edits as I want them and then email that to him. And then Rick is the
He would
one
chop it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So
I
we worked on
understand.
that. Yeah,
Wow.
and we worked really well. We loved working together, and he was just so encouraging and complimentary. And same thing with directing too.
Oh yeah, I love Rick and I love Andre as well. I mean, those guys are really, they're sweethearts and they're really, really great to work with. Yeah.
But I'm definitely up for doing more writing, more editing, more directing. So if there's any holes to fill in anybody's,
absolutely,
creative projects, I'm totally here. Of course, the acting too, but
yeah. See, I'm with this.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I'm on the opposite.
Editing,
I feel like I don't like to edit. I don't like to write. I don't like to I'll do it. I'll do it. But I'd rather just act. I'd rather just somebody else write. And
somebody like me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me a call.
All right. Yeah. We'll have to put something together. I mean, I know people are always wanting to shoot shorts, and those are really easy to crank out in a day.
Yeah.
And now we have enough people that have, at least a little time or equipment. If we can't cast one person, I mean, there's a deep pool of talent now, so that's cool.
Well, this movie, the sci-fi that I was writing for Matthew Hewlett for his film, that's a 40-page script, and he sees it being about an hour and 20, I think he says, hour and 15.
That's basically a feature. That's a feature, right?
Basically a feature. It's a weird time. I tried really hard to keep it under 40 minutes. But he kept saying, don't, let it be as long as it needs to be for it to be right,
Yeah.
So we got this kind of weird time.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how I feel about art in general. Let it be what it wants to be, and sometimes, because you don't want to be like, oh, we're missing stuff, and then you have to go reshoot, or, and then everybody's got different hairstyles or whatever, you don't want to figure out way later that it wanted to be a short and then now you got to cut a bunch of it out or whatever. You don't want to leave too much in the editing room. You kind of want to get it right on the script and be like, does it make sense here what I'm reading? And
that's for sure.
Yeah.
So that's what I got going on.
That's awesome. That seems like a lot of stuff and in a short amount of time.
I have Mike Schwab's karaoke machine in my home, and since COVID, I've been singing at least an hour a day. My neighbors are all really on board, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and now I finally figured out. It turned out I have a YouTube channel that I never used, and so now I finally have all the stuff I need to kind of record myself singing. So I have one song up there so far, and I've got plenty of songs that I want to lay down. I was doing really well without recording myself, but all of a sudden throwing the camera on me changed everything. And it's like I've been getting stuck on everything having to be perfect, and I'm having to really try and let that go. So yeah.
You got to trick yourself, I feel like that's kind of the thing. It's weird. I remember whenever I first started recording myself on music, and I was like, ugh, I sound weird. I don't like it. Like even just listening to myself, like, it's different whenever you're live, or it's like karaoke or whatever. Like you don't hear that really, like the immediate thing, or like whenever you're talking or you're singing, like right there. But whenever you record something and then go back and listen to it, and you're like, it's a
really
thing that,
Yeah, it takes a while for people to get used to their voice. and then start to know how to work with it. But nobody likes the sound of their voice when they first hear it. Nobody, because it's totally unfamiliar to you. It sounds different out there than it does in our head.
It does.
So honestly, that's the unfamiliarity that people are like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah. I guess like it always sounds like it's either a lower octave or it's a higher octave than you think it is, you know?
Oh, that's
So close
interesting.
to, you know? Which is a weird phenomenon, you know? But I have something to do with physics. I don't know what it is. I'm not a science guy. I'm not Bill Nye. So
sacred geometry.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, that sounds right. Let me. I gotta get your link. Yeah, no, not again. Sorry. No, that's great. So I'm gonna have to put your links in the description below. Is there anything else you want to let us know about that you're involved in, or that you did before that you'd like people to know about?
Gosh, I was in 7 films last year, and hardly any of them have hit. Tara.
They're not out yet.
Yeah, Tara Omari's. She's going to be screening it on August 8th. Her feature film. Everyday Heroes, I think it's called. I was in one of Rick Gates's Scene in Eugene. I was in Leanne Joshua's Namaste Bitches. And then of course Jarrett's. So yeah, but they all have yet to pop. So that'll be fun.
It's time to edit, and I don't know how many of them got held up in by COVID, you know what I mean? Because people had plans of how they wanted to do it, you know what I mean? And it's I mean, we lucked out. We honestly got done just in time.
That's great.
And even then, it kind of put a halt on our editing process for Team Awesome for Jeremy Ferguson and Matthew Hewlett, because you know there's restrictions. You know, you can't just, everybody couldn't just, you know. I mean, that was whenever they wanted to start editing and we all were ready to go to post. It was like, no, you couldn't have, masks weren't available, and you know, we really didn't know what was going. You know what I mean? So it was just like,
yep.
It's
I know. Rick and I, when we edited, it was remote and it was bizarre.
Yeah, that is a new method. I haven't heard of that before.
Yeah.
I like the idea of it.
So when is your film coming out? How are you launching it?
We don't know, because we don't know if there's going to be a second wave or what, and we don't know if there's any theaters still going to be open. We don't know how the spacing is going to be in the theaters. We don't know if we're going to do a drive-in instead. We don't know we're not sure. We might just try to release, you know, we're not sure, but it'll be.
Well, the Metro is giving Tara one of their rooms to screen her movie. As a limit of 20 people that can come.
Okay. They got to be spaced out, I'm assuming.
Yeah, but I think that's only like a third of the amount of people you had in your movie, so I don't know how you would do it.
There's 50 people in the cast alone. You know, that's not including the crew or people that would want to. I mean, so trying to do like 3 screenings. I don't know how logical that is. It might be a better idea to do the drive-in thing if we're still in this stage. Who knows?
Where's their drive-in?
I know there was one in Monmouth, and I know that in Eugene, Old Nick's was doing a projection on the wall thing, and I'm assuming somebody else is going to open one pretty soon, because
that would be so cool.
It's such a an open market, and there's places like Cresswell and even Cottage Grove have space that you could do that, you know, theoretically, and it wouldn't be dangerous, you know, as long as everybody followed the rules and they weren't like getting out of cars and going in somebody else's cars and like slamming drinks and stuff. Like we'll be virtually good, you know.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure somebody's gonna go into that market just because it's so open right now. And even after COVID, it's kind of like one of those classic American things that we lost.
Oh, it's so
I don't
romantic.
know why, because IMAX and 3D glasses, I'm not sure why
I
we lost
know.
it, but it's one of those things I think should come back, you know?
Well, I'm
But
super excited to see your film. I can't wait.
thank you. It should be around winter is when it'll
Okay.
be done and the trailer will be coming out. And then we'll hopefully talk to
Nice.
you again, and hopefully by that time we can catch up on with a real quick interview and get your other,
So,
maybe put some of your trailers on for movies that are already out or
oh,
whatnot.
cool.
And yeah,
Okay.
I will put your YouTube link to your singing page
Oh,
down below,
thanks.
and
Okay.
we'll post this on Wednesday. And you have a great night.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yes, have a good night.
Okay. All right. You too.